All right, welcome back to another deep dive, everybody.
Yeah.
This time we're going back to Dallas, November 1963,
Oh, boy.
the JFK assassination.
A dark day.
It is. And, I feel like everybody kind of knows the basic
The
story.
gist? Yeah.
We're not going to rehash all that.
Right.
What we're going to do today is we're going to look at some research, some witness accounts, some things that I think are going to be pretty new to a lot of people.
Oh, yeah. Definitely deep cuts.
Deep cuts, exactly.
Obscure stuff.
So are you ready to dive in?
I am so ready. Let's do it.
All right, so let's start with this whole thing with the rifle.
Okay.
The Mannlicher Carcano,
Right.
the one that was found in the Texas Schoolbook Depository.
Found on the 6th floor.
Yeah, supposedly, this is the rifle that Oswald used.
Allegedly.
Right, allegedly. But there's a researcher named Richard Bartholomew, and he really kind of takes a look at the mechanics of this rifle.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And the clip in particular.
Yeah, he dives into the specifics of the clip system. And he argues that based on how it's designed, that the clip should fallen out after the last shot was fired.
Okay.
But the reports say that the clip was still on the rifle, and a police officer even said that it was stuck.
Stuck.
Yeah.
What do you make of that?
Well, it definitely raises questions, right?
Yeah.
Like, if the clip should have fallen out, was it placed there?
Right.
Was there some tampering going on with the evidence?
Yeah, it makes you wonder, how much of this scene was really kind of, messed with.
Right.
To get the result that they wanted.
Makes you think about, the chaos after an event like that.
Oh, absolutely.
People are running around. Who knows what's going on?
Sure.
It would be pretty easy to manipulate things.
And that's just the rifle.
Right.
We also have these mysterious figures that are
Ooh.
posing as Secret Service.
This is a weird one.
Yeah. So we have these witnesses, and several witnesses are saying that they saw these guys, these individuals, shortly after the assassination.
Yeah. Specifically near the grassy knoll.
Grassy knoll.
Of course.
The grassy knoll.
Yeah, which is interesting because all the real Secret Service agents were with the motorcade.
Right.
So who were these guys?
Yeah, and what's interesting, too, is one of the witnesses was a police officer.
Oh, wow.
And he described one of these quote-unquote agents as looking like an auto mechanic with, dirty fingernails.
Doesn't sound very Secret Service-y.
No, not at all.
It's very strange.
So what do you think? What were they doing there?
Oh, it makes you wonder. Were they trying to, control the scene, plant evidence, intimidate witnesses?
Right. Or was it just a case of mistaken identity?
Maybe, but it seems a little too, coincidental, right?
Yeah, with all the other stuff that's going on, too.
Exactly. It just adds to the intrigue.
So we've got the rifle, we've got these fake Secret Service agents running around, and then we have the mail order rifle that Oswald supposedly used.
Right, the one he ordered from Klein's Sporting Goods.
Using the alias A. Hadel.
Alias A. Hadel.
But there's an author named W. Anthony Marsh.
I've read some of his work. It's pretty interesting.
And he really dug deep into this. And what he found is that there's all these inconsistencies in the evidence surrounding this rifle.
Like what?
Well, specifically this newspaper ad.
Oh, yeah.
For the rifle that was supposedly found among Oswald's belongings.
I remember that.
And what he found is that there's all these contradictions in the police reports, the witness testimonies, even a crucial part of it.
What's that?
A cutout of the ad.
Oh, wow.
Is missing.
Gone.
Gone.
That's a big detail.
Yeah, so it makes you wonder, was this just sloppy police work?
Right.
Or was there something more deliberate going on?
Yeah, were they trying to frame Oswald?
Right, exactly.
It's pretty unsettling when you think about it.
No kidding. So we've got all this going on, and then we have the doctors.
The doctors at Parkland.
At Parkland Hospital, who treated Kennedy right after the shooting. And there's a guy named Russell Kent who looked at their statements.
Yeah, he really breaks it down.
And what he found is pretty disturbing.
What's that?
He found that some of these doctors seem to have changed their stories.
Really?
Yeah. Particularly when they talked to an author named Gerald Posner.
Interesting.
And the changes they made were specifically about Kennedy's head wound.
Huh. That's a pretty crucial detail.
Yeah. So what do you make of that?
Well, it's hard to say for sure. They were under a lot of pressure.
I can imagine.
They just witnessed this horrific event.
Right.
So maybe it was just, their memories being fuzzy, or
Sure.
maybe they felt pressured to conform to the official narrative.
It does make you wonder.
It definitely does.
We've got all these pieces, and now there's one more piece to add to this whole thing.
Okay, lay it on me.
The Garrison Papers.
Oh, boy, this is a wild one.
This is a wild one.
Okay.
So there's this former New Orleans police officer,
Uh-huh.
Gary R. Raymond, and he claims that he was ordered to destroy grand jury records.
Destroy.
Yeah, destroy.
Wow.
Related to Jim Garrison's investigation into the assassination.
Garrison, wasn't he the one who was really pushing the conspiracy angle?
Exactly. And now, here's the crazy part. Raymond claims that he secretly kept these records.
What?
For over 20 years.
You just held on to them.
Held on to them. So what do you think was in those records that someone wanted to destroy them?
That's the million-dollar question, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it had to be something big.
Yeah, something that could have really challenged the official story.
Exactly.
So we've got all this, a potentially tampered rifle clip,
Yeah.
fake Secret Service agents,
Right.
evidence that goes missing,
Uh-huh.
witnesses who change their stories.
And now this
this.
stash of fire.
Where do we go from here?
It's like we're just scratching the surface.
Yeah, we've got a lot more to unpack.
Yeah, more to uncover.
So stay tuned because we're going to keep diving deeper into this JFK rabbit hole.
It's going to get interesting.
Okay, so we're back. And I got to say, my head is spinning a little bit.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in.
Yeah, it really is. But I feel like we're starting to see a pattern here.
I think so too, yeah.
What do you see?
Well, if you think about those details we talked about, the rifle clip, the missing ad, those fake Secret Service agents, what if it wasn't just random,
Like a coincidence.
Yeah, what if it was all part of a plan?
Like a coordinated effort to kind of control the narrative.
Exactly.
Okay, so walk me through this. How does it all connect?
Well, imagine the chaos right after the shooting happens.
Oh, yeah.
Witnesses everywhere. Nobody really knows what's going on.
Total pandemonium.
Exactly. And in that environment, even small things can make a big difference.
Like the rifle club.
Right. If it was planted, it creates this image.
Links Oswald to the gun.
Boom, right there in your face.
Powerful imagery.
And then the missing ad.
Okay, how does that fit in?
It's about creating doubt, right?
Uh-huh.
If they emphasize that it's missing, suddenly Oswald's connection to the rifle is weaker.
It's murky.
Exactly. It's all about perception.
So they're kind of playing with the evidence.
In a way, yeah, they're shaping the story.
And what about those fake agents at the grassy knoll?
Well, they could have been there to control the scene, talk to witnesses.
Before anyone else could get to them.
Exactly. Plan ideas, maybe even threaten people.
It's scary.
It is. Very much so.
So they're like gatekeepers.
Yeah, controlling what information gets out.
Okay, so we've got the evidence being manipulated. We've got these figures controlling the scene. What about the Parkland doctors?
Right. Remember, they were in a crazy situation.
Under a lot of pressure.
Trauma, grief, you name it.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
And their memories, especially about the wounds, could have been influenced.
By leading questions or just the desire to make sense of things.
Right. Maybe even a subconscious need to fit in with the official story.
So they weren't necessarily lying.
Not intentionally, maybe.
But their memories were just...
malleable, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about those Garrison papers? What do they tell us?
That's the smoking gun right there.
How so?
They tried to destroy them, that says it all.
Like they were hiding something?
Exactly, something that could have blown the whole case wide open.
Gary Raymond, he was a hero for saving them.
Absolutely. He knew something was wrong, and he did something about it.
So if there was a cover-up, who was behind it?
That's the big question, isn't it?
The million-dollar question.
And we might never know for sure.
But all these details, these inconsistencies, they point to something bigger.
Definitely more than meets the eye.
We're starting to see a different picture emerge.
A more complex, more disturbing picture.
And there's one more piece to add to this puzzle.
Oh, yeah, I almost forgot.
The Mentasana rifle.
Now that's a whole other story.
We'll save that for next time.
Stay tuned.
Okay, so we're back, and we left off with this whole Mentasana rifle thing.
Right, a mysterious second rifle.
Yeah, so, like, what is this?
It's pretty wild. So remember W. Anthony Marsh, the author who looked into that missing newspaper ad? Well, he also argues that there might have been another rifle at the book depository.
Wait, hold on. Aside from the one they say Oswald used.
That's what he's saying, yeah.
So there could be two rifles.
Potentially, yeah. And he bases this on inconsistencies he found in the witness statements and reports.
Okay.
And there's this film footage.
Film footage.
Yeah, taken on the day of the assassination, November 22nd.
Right.
It's called the Mentasana footage.
Okay, and what does it show?
Well, according to Marsh's analysis, it shows a police officer holding a rifle.
Okay.
But it doesn't look like the Mannlicher Carcano.
Really?
Yeah, he actually compares the rifle's features in the footage to different models, and he thinks it could be a Mauser.
A Mauser. That's interesting, because I thought they had ruled that out pretty early on.
Yeah, you're right. It was one of the weapons that got misidentified initially.
Yeah, in all the chaos.
Exactly. So if Marsh is right, this is a big deal.
Yeah, because it means there might have been a second rifle at the scene.
And that raises so many questions.
Like what happened to it?
Right. Why wasn't it in the official reports?
Was it planted?
Maybe. Or maybe they just wanted to keep things simple.
Like focus on the one rifle they could link to Oswald.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what do you think happened to this Mentasana rifle?
It's hard to say. Marsh thinks it might have been intentionally hidden.
To protect the lone gunman theory?
Right, because if there was a second rifle and they couldn't connect it to Oswald, well, that changes everything.
It throws the whole case wide open.
Exactly.
Man, it's like we're uncovering a whole new layer of the story with every turn.
And that's what makes the JFK assassination so fascinating.
It's a puzzle, a mystery with all these missing pieces.
And we may never have all the answers.
But that's okay, right?
Yeah, I think the important thing is to keep asking questions, keep exploring, keep an open mind.
And to never take anything at face value.
Exactly, because the truth is often much more complicated than we think.
I think that's a great note to end on. So, to all of our listeners out there, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the JFK assassination.
Thanks for listening.
Keep digging, keep questioning, and who knows, maybe you'll be the one to finally crack this case wide open.